stampers, and welcome to Laura's Stamp Pad. Today I am showing you another fabulous one-sheet wonder. By request, I had someone ask me to do a red, white, and blue one-sheet wonder. So here I have created a fabulous one-sheet wonder, and I actually made the one sheet myself. I took a piece of 12 by 12 Whisper White cardstock, and I stamped using the Perpetual Birthday Calendar stamp. And so I did all the little stars in Night of Navy, and then I backed all of the cards in Real Red, and then I actually used the Thoughtful Banners stamp set and did a fabulous little thank you on top there. And so each of the cards I have done, very simple. I just did all the greetings all at once, punched them all out with the coordinating duet punch. And since I used very few colors, then I didn't really have to dig very deep or take a lot of time on worrying about cutting and stuff. I used just 7 sheets of Real Red cardstock. I used 1 sheet of Night of Navy to do all of my backings, as some of them I did a little trim or a backing on, and then other ones I did not. And then I also used 1 sheet of 12 by 12 to create that one sheet wonder with. So I'm going to show you how I did all of these cards, including how I created the one sheet wonder piece, and then all of the cuts and each of these individually after I do each of the cuts, so that you can see all of these cards and how I created them. Let's get started. Okay, so now for this one sheet wonder, I have 1 piece of 12 by 12 Whisper White paper, and that is going to be my one sheet that I'm going to use to cut up, but I'm actually going to decorate it so that I can do a red, white, and blue set of one sheet wonder cards. So I have my stars image, here maybe you can see it better that way, my stars image from the Perpetual Birthday Calendar. So that's this fabulous stamp set with all those amazing background pieces to create any style of card. And I'm using the stars, and I'm using Night of Navy ink. So I'm just going to stamp all over this Whisper White 12 by 12 piece to create a background, so that then I can cut it up to make my red, white, and blue one sheet wonder cards. So I'm actually going to start like on the corner and work my way like across corner to corner. And I'm just going to start on the corner and fill in, making sure that I'm falling off of my piece of paper, because you want your image to look like it continues and doesn't stop and have that nice border around it. So you want to make it look like it just goes on and on and on, and almost like it's printed paper. So here we are, just kind of filling in and moving our way across. And there we have our full sheet of stars that we are now going to use as our one sheet wonder. You'll notice for a while there I started to go in like lines, and that's why I tried to switch it up and kind of go all over the place and sort of mix and match and go diagonal, just so that it wasn't so definite with the lines there. Like you can see a couple of them maybe there, and then it starts to go a little all over the place over here. But it's not going to matter anyway, because when we die cut it, or I'm sorry, whenever we cut it for the one sheet wonder, it's going to be cut into pieces that you're not going to be able to see those lines anyway. So now I'm just going to bring in my Stampin' Trimmer, and we are going to cut for the pieces of our one sheet wonder. So now the first cut that we make is at 5.5. So we have our 5.5 by 12.5 piece, and that's this piece here. I'm sorry, 5.5 by 12. Where did that 12.5 come from? 5.5 by 12, and then our first cut is at 4.25, and so this measures 4.25 by 5.5, and if you want, you can cut or you can tear diagonally to make 2 different cards. So you can either cut and do corner to corner there on your paper trimmer, or you can just rip it. I usually prefer to rip it just because I like that look a little bit better. So there's my 2 ribbed pieces, and I will insert the photo for the samples that I created with those here. Our next cut is going to be at 2 1/4. So that will be 2 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then 2 inches by 5 1/2. Then 1 3/4 by 5 1/2. And then my template shows that I cut off a 1/4 inch and just create a 1 1/2 strip, but I think I'll just leave that on there. And so then this piece is also 1 3/4. So these 4 images can all go long ways on your card and do like a nice long border that you can use for your card. And I will insert a photo showing samples of using those here. Okay, so now we're going to pull back in our piece. So we have this 12 by 12 piece, and we're going to cut at 4 1/2. So then we will have a 4 1/2 by 12 inch piece. And so then with this, our first cut is at 3 1/2. So we have a 4 1/2 by 3 1/2 square. And I will insert a photo showing that sample here. The next one is 1 1/2. And so this one, the template shows that I cut off a 1/4 inch, so you can either use this one as like a long piece going along the 5 1/2 side of your card, or you can turn it sideways and go along the 4 1/4 side. So that's all up to you. The next one is also at 1 1/2. And again, you can do the same with this, or you can trim it down even farther if you would like to make it like 4 inches and have a nice border on all sides. The next one is 4 1/2 by 2. And again, you could always trim that down to be 2 by 4 1/4 and go long ways on your card. The next one is another 2 inch. And this one I'm going to cut into 2 inch squares. So there's going to be 2 2 inch squares, and then there's a little leftover piece that isn't used. So there's my 2 2 inch squares, and then there's my little piece that I'm not going to use. And then this last piece that's left over is 1 1/2, and I'm going to cut that into 3 1 1/2 squares. So there's my 3 1 1/2 squares. And this is the middle section of the template, and I'm going to insert a photo here of showing how I used all of those. Okay, and that last piece of your template is the 2 inch by 12 inch piece. You can use this for anything. You can use it to decorate your gift packaging if you wanted to give all of these cards to someone as a hostess gift for a 4th of July party, or just a friend that you wanted to give red, white, and blue cards to. Or you could use this as a belly band to wrap all of your cards together with. Or what I like to do is make it into more cards, just because then I know that I have the max amount of cards for this one sheet wonder. So I'm actually just going to cut this at 5 1/2 twice. So it's 5 1/2 by 2 inches and 5 1/2 by 2 inches. And so I just have this little bitty piece left over, and I'm going to use these the same way that I used those very first images off of that first section of the template. So I will show those 2 samples here. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial of the One Sheet Wonder. I know it's one of my most popular videos that I have showcased, and I'm always happy to try something new. So thank you so much for the awesome idea of doing a red, white, and blue One Sheet Wonder. I made all 14 of these cards, and I can't wait to send them out. I think I'm going to send them to all of the military people I know, just as a thank you for the service that they do for our country. So thank you for that awesome idea. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll have all my photos on my blog, laurastamppad.com, so be sure to check that out. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, as I post every Tuesday and Thursday, and I'll see you next time. Happy stamping. Bye-bye.